on the math test. And please notice the way I phrased that sentence. Not yet been successful. Now, we all know that there are some candidates even below that who have miles to go before they sleep. But we're not talking about those right here today. We're talking about the overwhelming majority of people who have not yet been successful. And I'm always interested to see what is happening with those two groups, because from the perspective of the GED instructors, that piece of news that I have right there is the most important. They're challenged by the same questions, because what that means for the instructors is they don't have to use one group of strategies for the near candidates and another group of strategies for the below candidates. Whatever they're doing is going to be beneficial to both. And when I looked at these forms from 2008, this is what I found. Of the most frequently missed questions, over 90% are exactly the same. And so to increase their chances of success, this is something I actually talked with Debbie about the last time I came to Virginia. She was a little concerned about looking at the most difficult questions. So instead, I looked at questions that were missed by between 20% and 40% of the candidates, because these are more approachable. And we don't have mountains to scale to make these people who have not yet been successful become successful. For the near candidates, the lowest of them, we only need to raise their score by 1 or 2 more questions correct, and they will be successful. And for the below candidates, from 3 to 5 questions more correct is all we need. So what I'm looking for are some strategies that we could use to help them become successful. And really, that's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in making them mathematics majors. I'm interested in enabling them to get on this step. This is the step where they have been successful on the GED test, because now the doors to the rest of their life are open. And that's what I'm interested in. If they're really interested in mathematics, there's nothing I would rather do than teach them, because that's what I consider my forte to be. So, for today's presentation, I looked at 3 areas, because Debbie will only let me talk for an hour. These are the 3 that I identified. The first is to look at percentage. You know, it really is amazing how simple percentage can be, even if you don't have access to the calculator. And the final one is something to do with fractions. Now, all of these are from the perspective of calculation, as you can probably see, but I do not want you to think that the questions on the test are overwhelmingly associated with mathematics itself, the procedures, the computation part of it. And I also don't want you to think that we get into very detailed or difficult computation involving fractions. I'm looking at some simple techniques that will allow them to overcome their concerns, their fear, what causes them to freeze when they see a question on the test that has a fraction in it, because I know this happens. But really, don't think that this is the overwhelming majority of the test. These just happen to be 3 areas that I was able to identify from the 3 forms that I happened to go through for this particular presentation.